So back with Alan Malmberg
and
Henry, Kelly Guest,
Terry Knight. Right there?
And we broke because Henry has discovered that Al is a tremendous dog person. Al, what is your dog situation like?
We have Murphy, yellow lab, who's named after the news editor at CCO, Steve Murphy. I've always named my pets after people I work with. Down in Rochester, Minnesota, I had a bowl of fish. What do you call those fish?
Sardines?
No, they were live. They were
live. Goldfish! Goldfish!
Thank you.
I was thinking lunch.
Shoot. And I named them after three of the news guys on there. Kim David and Bob Ryan and another guy. Bob Ryan, people might remember, was the anchor on Channel 5 for 30 years.
Oh, yeah.
With, 20 years with John McDougall. They were co-anchors. And they were let go because they were too old back in the mid-70s.
Yeah, things have
But
changed.
anyway, Bob Ryan and I worked together in Rochester. So one of the fish's name was Bob Ryan. Excuse me. And one day,
I have a lint brush.
Yes. I went to work and Bob Ryan was belly up in the bowl. And
that can be delicate in the workplace.
I went down the main floor to get a cup of coffee, and the receptionist said, "What's wrong? You look sad." And I said, "Bob Ryan died." And she went, "Bob Ryan died?" And I go, "No, not that, not that Bob Ryan." She was stunned.
I would think.
Yeah.
How did you practice of naming your pets after your coworkers,
colleagues? I don't know. It just started. Yeah, it just started doing it. Yeah.
Is there more than one dog then?
Well, my oldest son has Hefner, the chick magnet. And he's a half brother of our yellow lab. And my youngest son has Paxton, named after the supercharger. And Paxton's a 140-pound yellow lab.
Wow.
Big yellow lab.
That is almost Henry's 160.
Yeah. He's not as tall as Henry, but then again, only a horse as tall as you, Henry.
This is a little pet therapy.
Yeah.
In the wake of a shocking, life change.
This is a wonderful dog you have here.
So the question that I have, we talked quite a bit in the first segment about what you did at CCO and overnight and how much you loved it. Speaking of love, Al's getting some big love.
He just slid my chair a foot.
Oh. Yeah. If you had more latitude than anybody else on the station, any other show.
Without question, yeah.
Was there anything that you always wanted to do on your show that you never got the chance? Or was it everything you always wanted?
That's a great question. The only thing I would like to have done more of was, it was very difficult to get guests on at that time of night. They would say 2 o'clock in the morning.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm with you, Henry. So it was difficult at times to get guests. So I'd like to have changed that, but you'd have to change the time slot.
Yeah.
On the other hand, there were other people that had no problem with being up late at night.
Were they book authors and things like that? Somebody that had something
to sell?
Yeah.
Primarily.
Yeah.
Primarily.
Now you did sit in occasionally for other day parts.
I only did it a couple of times after I went back to the overnights. I did afternoons for nearly a year.
I remember that.
Yeah. And I didn't like it. It was just too restrictive. And so I went back to the overnights, and so I filled in for Shelby a couple of times, maybe 5 years ago, and then the week of Christmas I filled in for 2 days. It was fun being on a different time zone, but the overnight shift was far better.
So if you were to possibly go and syndicate your World of Aviation, what other pursuits would you have? Would that be just a weekly thing, or would you expand it?
No, I think it would be once a week.
Okay.
Because my primary goal was initially, and to this day, is to get the World War II vets on. And we've had some great stories.
Would you tell that story you told
the
other day?
A guy named Chris Christensen is his name. He was shot down in World War II. They just strafed a Japanese-held island in the Pacific. And he had taken flak, and they had to ditch the plane. So he and his tail gunner, they bailed out. And both the chutes opened, so they saw each other, so they gave a little feeling of comfort. that they both got out. But then when they went down in the ocean, the swell was so large they lost track of each other. Nighttime came, and something brushed up against his leg, and he immediately thought sharks. And he thought, that's it, I'm a goner. And it turned out to be a pot of dolphins that pushed him to an island.
Really?
Yeah, and what's really bizarre, another pot of dolphins pushed his gunner to the same island. Problem was, it was the Japanese.
I have chills hearing that.
Problem was, it was a Japanese island they had just attacked, so they think they were Japanese dolphins.
Working
Yeah,
together.
that's just one of the guys we had. There was another guy, I can't remember names, I think it was Fred Seals. This is in Korea, and he was on a cargo plane, and they were flying over American troops to push cargo off of these guys on the ground. And normally they'd be strapped in, they'd have a strap that they'd hook on to a harness, and he didn't have his on, and it was buffeted by turbulence. And the plane went like this, and he went out the door. And there he is, no parachute, no nothing, and he's out of the plane. And you think that's it. Well, that's what he thought. And,
Well, the fact that I'm thinking, how are you interviewing this guy?
and the guy that he was working with said, he yelled into his microphone, "Fred's gone. He's out the door." He went out the door. Well, the plane, with the turbulence that they encountered, the plane went like this, and Fred fell back in through the door.
Come on.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, true story. You cannot make this stuff up. You cannot make it up. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, how do you find those guys?